All right. Welcome to Steamboat Comedy's Comedy in the Part 3. Use those round of applause. Can you believe they let us do this again?
No,
what are
I
they
don't.
thinking? Thank you for coming out. My name is Kalynn Ruff. I'll be your host. You might have known me before as the guy with the mustache. I'm now the guy with the Fu Manchu. Trying something different. I'm not so... I thought I would look a lot tougher. Like a mini Chuck Liddell is what I was going for. It's kind of more like I'm starting a biker gang called the Lollipop Guild. It's really not what I hoped, but we're going to power through. So yeah, thanks for braving these strange times to be here. Again, give yourselves a round of applause. We really appreciate you supporting local comedy. Speaking of strange and comedy, let's just get right into it. Who watched the debates? Yeah, what a disaster. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion. And by train wreck, I mean angry pedophiles with dementia. And by in slow motion, I mean pumped full of Adderall and shouting incoherently. I watched that whole thing. I couldn't tell you who won, but I can definitely tell you who lost. Me. I lost time for my life I will never get back. The whole time I was just like, man, I could be doing something productive with this time, like reading a book. Maybe playing guitar, or smashing my genitals with a hammer. You know, something good for me, right? Yeah, it's strange times with this election coming up. People are acting kind of crazy. This is a true story, and this is all the way back in February. So we were getting ready to do a open mic at the Barley, downtown Steamboat. And these two young ladies, they come up to me, and they say, we want to come to your comedy show, but our mom's going to be with us, and she's very sensitive to Trump. She can't handle Trump. I said, is he here? This doesn't look like a golf course. I mean, she goes, no. She just can't handle anything that is pro-Trump. She'll freak out. Are you pro-Trump? Is your comedy pro-Trump? I said, no, but I'm not going to lie. I didn't even think that was an option. Do Republicans tell jokes? I mean, I haven't seen a conservative comedian since Larry the Cable Guy quit doing Xantec commercials in 2006. So I said, no, it should be good. She goes, okay, well, we'll try to convince her to come. I said, get her done. They didn't come. But anyways, so I know everyone has their opinions and nobody wants to hear it, but I'm going to tell you mine. This is how I think you should vote, okay? I think with the craziness going on, and the way things have gone the last 6 months, what we need to do is we need to stick with the current leadership. The current leadership, and that's why I'm voting for the coronavirus! 4 more years of coronavirus! 4 more years! 4 more years! Yeah, Trump's the president. But the coronavirus is who's in charge. The virus is who's dictating policy. And I gotta say, it's worked out better for me than any Democrat or Republican ever has. Bernie Sanders has been trying to bribe me with free stuff for 20 years. Big Rona got it done in a couple of months. I'm playing Xbox and making bank. But I know you're thinking. You're thinking, but Kyle, I can't vote for the coronavirus. The coronavirus is dangerous. Well, for one, it's got a few million deaths to go before it's the most dangerous publicly elected official, okay? That's a history joke. And 2, it's not dangerous for me. I'm young and healthy. Right now, the median age of death from coronavirus is higher than the median age of death. That's right. The coronavirus is tearing through nursing homes faster than STDs are tearing through nursing homes. Yeah, you all forgot that was a thing, didn't you? You know what they're doing in there. When you drop grandma off at the old folks' home, she's just punching back into one giant, continuous, slow-motion orgy. It's like a frat party with more pills and less condoms. I mean, it's not like you're getting a baby out of whatever's left of Grandma's dried up old uterus, right? And Grandma's money shot looks like a paleontologist blowing the dust off a 2,000-year-old petrified slug. That ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work. But we don't have to worry about coronavirus and pandemics. We live in Steamboat. We live in the middle of nowhere. It's safe. Who here is from Steamboat? Raise your hand. All right. And who's from out of town? Raise your hand. Some visitors? All right. Well, I've been here for a while, about 6-7 years. And I've noticed a few things about Steamboat that make it unique. You locals, let me know if this rings true. So one thing about Steamboat that's interesting is every person in this town owns a dog. Seriously. Which is fine by me. My name's Kyle Ruff. Get real. I love dogs. I come from a long line of dog farmers. I just made that up. But the weird thing about the dogs here is everyone's dog has a human name. You ever notice that? Well, you go to the dog park and it's like, come here, Russell. Come here, Eddie. They have more human names than their owners do. I met this guy. He's like, hi, my name's Dakota, and this is my dog, Steve. I said, you know that's not a human child, right? Which on that note, have you ever been in a town with more 40 and 50-year-old bachelors in it? It's like Never Never Land. You don't have to grow up here. Hey! Hitting close to home over there. Well, I was talking to my buddy Greg one day, and Greg was like, I think one of these days I'm going to settle down, Maybe move out to the burbs, get like a house with a picket fence, wife and kids. Heck, I might even quit being a lifty. And I said, that's great, Tim, but you're 47 years old. I think someday was several days ago. And the last thing I noticed about Steamboat, which is great, is there's basically no crime here. No crime. I mean, the cops essentially just exist to protect us from wild animals. And yes, that includes Texans. But really, the only time I've heard of a cop discharging his weapon in Steamboat was last summer. There was this giant black bear that was running around downtown. You remember him? He's huge. He's eating everybody's trash, and the cops cornered him, and they took him out. It's a shame, and I know they have a tough job, and they have their protocols, but you can't help but wonder, would they have pulled the trigger if it was a polar bear? Oh, man. Black bears matter, you guys. At least that's what the protesters told me the next day. I don't know. Just kidding. There's no race controversy in Steamboat. This is the whitest town in America. We have all the racial diversity of a Ted Nugent concert here. Steamboat is so white.
How white is it?
Steamboat is whiter than the BYU marching band. Steamboat is whiter than a Big Bang Theory marathon on TBS. Steamboat is whiter than the Wonder Bread factory. And keep going. Steamboat is whiter than low-sodium Triscuits. But I gotta be careful, man. I make these jokes. And a lot of people are sensitive about ethnicities and different cultures these days, I got in trouble. Last year I was trying to write a joke about going bald. And my girlfriend got all mad at me. I'll tell you, this is the premise of the joke. So, if you're going bald, it's not like it blindsides you. All you have to do is look around in family and see everyone else that's going bald, right? And you know you're going to go bald. Like, my dad's going bald, my brother's going bald, my uncles are going bald, my grandpa's going bald, my mom's going bald. Wait, that was the chemo. But still, you get it. She's fine. Don't worry, guys. But still, the only way you can know is if you're adopted, right? So I like to think, for the sake of comedy, somewhere out there's a couple little adopted boys. And they're like that guy you knew in high school who just got that crap roll of the dice genetically, and they're like completely bald at 13, right? And these two little boys, they're looking around their family powwow. They're seeing all this beautiful hair. Meanwhile, they're 9 years old. They already look like Woody Allen in his 30s, right? And the one little boy, he says to his uncle, he pulls on his pants, he goes, "Uncle, how come me and my brother Bernie don't have hair like everyone else here?" And his uncle says, "I'm sorry, little one. Although you will always be part of the Navajo Nation, you were adopted, and will never have our luxurious flowing hair." And the little boy goes, "Oh, shucks. Well, I still love you, Uncle Running Bear." He goes, "I love you too, Shines on Top. Now grab your brother, Burns and Son." I love that joke. That's a great joke. But Those two little boys would appreciate it if they were here right now. But my girlfriend, I was telling her the premise of this joke, and she got upset with me because she thought that, I was prejudiced against Native Americans. Let me tell you why. So we used to live on an Indian reservation, and one time I was at a bar, and a Native American gentleman kicked my ass. Yeah. I called him a pussy, but it turns out he wasn't one. But see, what my girlfriend didn't realize is that I've lived all kinds of places, and I've been beaten up by all kinds of people. I hate everyone equally. Yeah. 4 more years of coronavirus! 4 more years! 4 more years! Thank you very much, guys. I'm Kyle Ruff. Thanks again for coming out. We're going to keep this thing rolling. Got lots of local comedians coming up to entertain you. Next up, we have a longtime friend of mine, hilarious guy. He just moved back into the boat to do comedy, and he's killing it so far. Give it up for my buddy Reed Belmonte.
Everybody give yourself a great round of applause right now. Everybody, we're all live. All right, now please join me in a soft, nice golf clap for the recovery of our president. That concludes my political material for the evening. Thank you. I am so brave. I'm so happy to be back in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, living here again, surrounded by my sisterhood and brethren. Like everybody else in Steamboat, I'm not originally from here. Surprise, surprise, I am not from Colorado, nor am I an Olympian. I know what you're thinking. But no, I'm originally from the Great Lakes state of Michigan. Any other Midwesterners in this great crowd? Raise your hands nice and high. Anyone from the Midwest? All right, hold your hands up for a second. Everyone from the Midwest, hold your hands up. Everyone else who didn't raise their hand, look around. These are the people that made all your shit. You're welcome for your GMC terrain. Yes, sir. You in the front row with a vegan diet. Where are you from in the Midwest? Sorry, my mic must be broken. I said the Midwest. Let me get one thing straight, buddy. We got the Midwest, and we got the Rockies. And then we spread the cheeks right down here somewhere around Nebraska. It's okay. But if it makes you feel any better, you're far from the Midwest, because I'm sure your sports teams are actually successful. Who else was from the Midwest? I saw some people in the back. You, sir, in the sweatshirt. Where are you from? Wisconsin. Oh, yeah, you're from Wisconsin there. Sorry, am I blasting people? There we go. You're from Wisconsin there. Very nice. That's kind of like the Florida of the North a little bit, isn't it? You guys just do your own thing up there. All about cheese curds, cheese heads, dairy cows, thick beer. We get it. You don't want to live past 40. The state flag of Wisconsin should just be a propped up dairy cow switching out its insulin pump. Just Arby's. Anybody here from Minnesota? Cool. Minnesota is hands down one of my all-time favorite states. The people from Minnesota are incredibly nice and incredibly tough. They're like the Starks of Winterfell, but forgiving. Oh, I'm still real sour about that red wedding, but let's just hit the ice and go ice fishing there. They just don't care. I had somebody recently explain to me that Iowa was from the Midwest. Wrong. Kind of like Nebraska. Iowa is like the flyover of flyover states. You ever driven through Iowa? It's one abortion sign away from being South Dakota. Well, nevertheless, I'm happy to see some Midwestern folk here. This is a good thing. We all share a very similar upbringing, us from the Midwest. You see, unlike you guys, we're all raised by Midwest fathers. And Midwest dads are an entirely different breed of other dads in the U.S. So, to give you an idea, you think a dad from, California, the West Coast, they're going to sit down their 10-year-old son one day and be like, "What's going on, Ash?" Or Tyler, pick a name. I just want to let you know, my man, that when you grow up, you can be anything you want as long as you're progressive and happy, my man. Now go get your other dad and let's go to the beach. Where a Midwest dad is going to be sitting down that 10-year-old at the kitchen table with some graph paper and be like, why don't you have a job yet? I worked when I was 8. You know you're moving out when you're 18, right? Don't look at your mother, look at me. I own you. You are my property because I said so. Now go outside and rake leaves. God, I asked my dad for $10 to go to the movies one time, and he told me the story of the Apollo 13 mission. Failure's not an option, Reed. Like, yeah, I know, Dad. I don't need a TED Talks every time I go out. Midwest dads are either incredibly lazy or they're as literal as German scientists. They're just absolutely ridiculous. They're like cinder blocks with teeth and glasses. They're just cold-hearted as hell. And, oh my God, like, my dad was an auto worker in Detroit for 30 years. He came home every single night, dead tired, dragging his feet, that leather cap and a lunchbox, like a Tom Waits song just came to life. He finally sits down, he's putting his feet up, he can actually end his day, and I come out of nowhere and I'm like, oh my God, Dad, you're not gonna believe it! I discovered punk music, I love Lord of the Rings! He's like, will you shut up? You know, get down to my level. Like, you think I built this house as shelter? It's for me to jump off where you won't be quiet. Why don't you have a job yet? All right, thank you so much for coming out and supporting Steamboat Comedy. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Keep it going for Reed Belmonte, everybody! My dad was also mean to me, all right. Next up, we have a hilarious young lady, a regular on the scene. Great damn moves, you can check it out right now. There it is. She'll be up here dancing and telling you jokes. Give it up for Kalynn Smith, everybody! You don't actually have to dance if you don't want to.
Oh my gosh, thanks guys. Thank you, Botanical Gardens. I really can't believe you keep having us back here, but it's really nice of you. So one of the nice things about this beautiful venue is that it's really open to the public all the time. So one of the conditions of us being here is that we are not supposed to cuss during our shows. I know you might be thinking like, well, I'm still very traumatized from everything I've heard so far, despite the lack of cuss words, but that was actually an agreement. And that's kind of hard for me because a lot of my set's about 2020, and holy heckin' cuss, y'all. The defecation continues to hit the oscillation every single day. Every day I open my phone, it's awful. It's traumatizing. You know, and I really just, I feel like that this year was so bad, even God looked down and was like, burn it to the ground. Yeah, that's right. These aren't climate change fires. These are just actually like the cleansing just coming in and happening for you guys. This is actually God's gender revelations party. You know, it's the end times. It's happening for us. I have to say though, I really feel like that so far this has been the worst season of The Apprentice yet. Everyone got fired. Except for like the one dude that should have been fired. Somehow he got pardoned. I don't know how you can buy that kind of essential status as a worker. Because if you could buy it, he probably couldn't afford it. I mean, I saw his taxes. I'm like, do you need money? Like, are you good? So I did actually end up missing the last show here at the Botanical Gardens because I was in Portland, which was really fun. I went out to visit my sister. She's a Libyan. She lives in a neighborhood. It's really nice for her out there. And you know, I have to say, I was in Portland for all of 4 days. Now I make my own deodorant. I'm not sure it's working. You guys are making me sweat. But it was good. It was nice to take a break from Steamboat because I love this town. I really do. But it's a bit of a bubble. And sometimes you forget that until you leave. And I went out there and, I was like, wow, yeah, Steamboat thought that we were protesting the Bureau of Land Management this whole time. So this was a nice thing to round it out. The BLM movement is actually not about camping. It was the weirdest realization that I came to. But it was important. It was important. And it made me examine some of my biases, I think. And that's good. You should always check yourself when you can. And one of the things I was talking about with them, because I was, describing my friend Kyle Ruff here, and I was like, yeah, a bit of a midget, but a funny guy. They were like, Kalynn, not the preferred nomenclature. And I was like, wait, what? And they were like, no, midget's not something you should use anymore. And I was like, oh my gosh, well, I really didn't mean to offend anyone. I never mean to do that. What is the preferred term? They're like, dwarf, because the disease is called dwarfism. And I was like, all right. But for me as a nerd, when I hear dwarf, I just think immediately like Lord of the Rings. I think immediately like Gimli. And so it's kind of bizarre for me to talk about a group of people with a fantasy name. I'm like, what would the gays think if we just started calling them all fairies? Wait. Anyway, so yeah, I am trying to be more conscious. I'm trying to be more conscious on all levels. And I was actually over at my friend's house. You might meet him earlier if you stay for the second show. He does slay both jobs and, ladies, according to himself. But his bachelor pad is very much that. It's very much a bachelor pad. So I was over at Miles's house, and I go in, and I did something I've never done before. I go to use his bathroom, and then when I was done peeing, I put the toilet seat back up. And I was like, this was weird for me, but I guess this goes both ways. We just need to be more conscious of everybody else's struggle, I thought that that's just where it belonged. So I put it right back up, and I have to say, I had so many high hopes, I guess, trying to be more conscious. I just really thought that the end of the world would be a cooler ending. I thought that it would be zombies, really that's what I had my money on. That's what I've been preparing for this whole time was zombies. But it actually just ended up being me telling grouchy white men to put a mask on, and that was very anticlimactic. I gotta say, it's not exactly my favorite turn of events, because it turns out, Proud Boys don't want to wear masks unless they're white and pointy. I know, it's sad. You should feel sad. But I've never had to work this hard to get ugly people to just cover up their face. You would think they'd be more about it. You'd think they'd be like, thank God, this is finally my time. I can deal with this meth mouth down here. But instead, they're out there just yelling at scientists that have more degrees, and these guys have teeth. It's it's a whole thing. So I have been a little bit, intrigued by the way that this has all kind of come out. I do think, though, that women are more equipped for this mask mandate because we have been convincing y'all, and by y'all I mean dudes, to wear condoms for 150 years. And so we're about that conversation. A little bit of discomfort for my benefit, that's really what it's all about. So we're really good at honing that in. Guys, not so much, which is why it explains a lot, And I did look that up, guys. The condom has been around for 150 years. That was something I actually, I learned, and now you're going to learn too because you're here. Didn't think you were going to walk away with any history lesson, but guess what? You are. And what that actually means is that we invented the condom before we abolished slavery. Because that's how long people have been screwing around in this country. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things about, screwing around that sometimes doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Does anybody move to Colorado and just get really weirded out by the come and go the first time that they saw it? Right? For those of you who are visiting, I'm sure you drove past it and you were like, huh, look at that. And of course, that's everyone's first reaction. That was my first reaction, although I did refuse to call it the come and go. So for a long time, I just started inventing my own names for it, like the jizz and dip, or the nut and run, or, the splooge and split. And one of my friends, actually, she's here, Brooklyn, thanks, Bobo, she told me that the reason it's called come and go is because it's named after the two founders' initials. The founders being named Klaus and Gentle. And somehow that is more rapey than come and go. So I actually kind of support their decision because I don't know how I would feel about being like, well, I got to go down to the Klaus and Gentle before they close, So somehow that's creepier to me. So I actually think that was probably a good choice that they made there. Brooklyn and I were just on a road trip, little road trip out to Grand Junction recently. And I have to say, the other thing that really doesn't make sense to me about Colorado is the roundabouts. I hate them. And every time I go into them, I don't really know what's happening, so I just scream Subaru really loud and just like hope for the best. And I was just noticing that as we got closer to Utah, there was like more and more roundabouts. Like every time we got off an exit, it was like double roundabouts followed up by another double roundabout, 2 lanes at a roundabout, which is just unnecessary. But then I came up with a theory, and this is my theory. I think that as you get closer to Utah, Utah really wants to confuse Coloradans. So they're just like, hey, we know you're high. Try to get through this, and we're just going to confuse the crap out of you until you turn around 4 times and head back to Denver. That is their plan. And so far it's working, because you know what? I just gave up. I was like, Grand Junction, I think that's as far as we're going to get. I don't think we even need to cross the border. I think we'll just stay here. But yeah, that's really all I got for you guys. I'm going to get out of here, get to the ejaculate and evacuate before I have to, deeply scar any children in the audience. But yeah, that's all for me.
Keep it going for Kalynn Smith, hey! These words gotta stick together, Fun fact, also, the best name for the come and go is actually the Nut and Bolt. Triple entendre there. It's been a great time. Also, if you want to support Steamboat Comedy and the Botanic Gardens, there's a donation bucket on your way out. Really appreciate it if you can spare a few bucks. If not, don't worry about it. We just love doing this any opportunity we can. I also have t-shirts. If you want to look like me, only taller, I have them for sale. You can grab them from me. I'll be by the exit on your way out. And also, after our headliner is up, I have a few big announcements of things coming up, so stay tuned. But now we have our headliner for the evening, afternoon, I guess. We've been changing times now. It's going on autopilot. But he is the star of Comedy in the Park 1 and Comedy in the Park 2. He is a Colorado son, once removed to Chicago, and he is back to grace the stage. Please give it up for my buddy Pat Treuer, everybody. Pat Treuer!
Kyle Ruff, everybody, put on the show. Give it up for Kyle. It's a lot of work here. Woo! We got a lot to unpack, don't we? You never know what you're going to get with a free show in the park. I want to say thank you, everybody. I'm really grateful that everyone's here, and this is a great-looking group of people. I always like to start some shows with celebrity lookalikes. So we're going to start right here with you, sir. Michael Douglas with a chocolate milk addiction. That's not an insult. You drink the chocolate milk because you probably go to an axe throwing league every other day, right? Those arms are incredible. You got a young Catherine Zeta-Jones to your right from Iowa, though. Yeah. And then on your left, ma'am, I feel like you're going to try and sell me some granola infused with CBD. Those of you here last time, thanks for coming again, guys. Really appreciate it. Last time I said Seth Rogen meets Zach De La Roche, lead singer. Today I'm going to go with Reggie Watts, if he was an albino who did CrossFit. One at a time. Oh, you, sir, right here with the fedora/cowboy hat, blue shirt. Appreciate you taking time off from your day job of the Welcome to Las Vegas neon sign. Ma'am, I noticed you put your sleeves on. I noticed you had the pink sleeveless, so thanks for taking time off from the LPGA today. You, sir, I was going to say a home base umpire from Nebraska, but you confirmed the Nebraska part, so. Right there, Denver Broncos. Yeah, go Broncos. All the way, blue shirt. Anyone else see how hot this guy is? Oh, my gosh. Oh, look at that jawline. Are you kidding me? You cut marble with that? Handsome devil. Listen, I have a beautiful girlfriend I love, but I might demand a trade after taking a look at you. Let's see here, right there. You three right there, guys. Yeah, that's you kind of remind me of Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. His grandparents in the bed. I'm surprised you don't have a collapsible bed with you. If Grandpa Joe cleaned it up, yeah. Right behind you, I don't know if that person's still alive or not. Just passed out. Yeah. What else we got here? Oh yeah, right up there. See you with the hat. The actor Jeffrey Jones, who played Principal Rooney in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Listen, I'm aware that I look like Matthew McConaughey's underdeveloped brother who likes to swallow beehives. Some of you might recognize me as Barbra Streisand and Will Ferrell had a one-night stand and birthed the 38-year-old man boy. Still going through puberty. Oh, let's see here. There was one more. Ah, yes, you, sir, with the long black hair and the beard. Such a beautiful beard. I know you don't even need a mask. The beard just takes care of itself. Yeah, the gray shirt, yeah. You remind me of Steve Aoki, the DJ, was from Craig. Either that or Kevin Costner's best friend in Dances with Wolves. Okay, I'm going to tell at least one joke before I get out of here. How beautiful is this, huh? Look at this. The leaves are calling. Fantastic. I take comedy outside in the day, any day, over comedy inside. We think about comedy clubs. What were they? They were basically just disease cesspools. I would much rather have a kid yelling about finding a frog than someone blacked out of their mind at 5 o'clock. There's no joke in that sentence. My name is Pat Treuer. I'm very happy to be here. We drove up from Breck just to do this because Kyle does such a great job. And give it up one more time for all the comedians you saw. Thought everyone did a really nice job. Yeah, a lot of work Kyle has to go through. As a producer of a show, you will often, you have to go through all these meetings, especially now, to get everything, everybody's got to feel safe, and you know the drill. You know, we've been doing this for 6 months now. And as a producer of a show, you will tell comedians, I need you to do this. They won't do any of it. They won't do any of it. The old pandemic started, and I took my business and I shifted to doing virtual comedy shows. I feel the judgment. And so we switched, we did comedy shows all on Zoom. Just a quick applause. Who's been on Zoom? What's the critical function of Zoom? What's the one thing that will make or break a Zoom? Batteries. Mute. Mute and naked people. Relevant to what I'm about to tell you. The first show I did was for an organization called Choose Chicago. I was living in Chicago the past 4 years. This is a large organization. It's like the tourist organization for the city of Chicago. This would be a huge customer for me. And they said, hey, Pat, we want you to put together a fun show for all of our members. We think this would be a much-needed break, but we need you to keep it clean. I said, not a problem. We got it. No problem at all. The first comedian, I said, hey, guys, listen, I really need you to, this is a great opportunity for me and all of us, because if we do well with this, we'll get a lot more business, and it'll be beneficial for everyone. We got to keep it clean, though. No problem. First comedian. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the screen. And you say, welcome to the screen. Welcome to the screen. So-and-so. First thing he says is, anybody else exhausted from playing with themselves all the time? And I could just see the person who had asked me to do the show, their face just went. Thankfully, that same person had a full-grown man son who walks around in their underwear, who happened to walk right in front of the screen about 2 minutes later. Everyone totally forgot what the first comedian said. Second one is the mute and unmute. We do free shows for nonprofits with good causes. And we did a show for a substance abuse counseling center on the East Coast. And one of their employees was at work, and right in the middle of the comedian's set, all of a sudden we hear this,
well, that's what happens when your boyfriend drinks. How many times do we got to talk about this?
So simple. Mute. Unmute. Third one, there's a spiel, right? It's, hey, everybody, this is a virtual comedy show. It's new for a lot of people. This is how we interact, and this is what we do. And I'm just getting through it, and I'm an excitable guy. Some of you guys have already noticed. You're like, wow, this guy's got the energy of like a kid who went to camp for 10 years and is a counselor for the first time. Correct. It's correct. And I'm getting through my instructions because you got to set the stage. And right halfway through, I just hear this. Oh, this is too bad. This guy's not funny at all. Always nice getting a performance review when you haven't even had the performance. I've got a wonderful girlfriend. The timing wasn't good. Fair point. Curious though, why are you wearing the mask now? For like 10 minutes you weren't wearing it at all. I noticed you weren't wearing it when the sleeves were off, but now you've got it back on when the sleeves are on. It's matching out. It's fashion, isn't it, for you? When's the last time you washed your mask?
2 days ago.
2 days ago. Disgusting. I haven't washed mine once. On vacation. Couple out of town. We had some out of towners. Welcome, right? Hey, it's kind of like a novel, right? Like Stephen King's The Stand or Ayn Rand's The Fountainhead, right? We all flee to the mountains of Colorado, which is awesome. And the out of towners, right? The symptoms: dry cough, right? Shortness of breath. Well, we got forest fires going on, and we're at 7,000 feet. I think we better get tested. Just drink water. You're going to be fine. Oh, okay. Got a wonderful girlfriend. I do. She's wonderful. She's right there. Jordan, wave your hand for everybody. It's a real person. Just so the gentleman in blue shirt doesn't think I'm going to try anything on him. This year has been great for us. And we moved in together, and we bought a Roomba, one of those fun autonomous robots. We named it Winston. We bought an air fryer, which, as some of you know, which completes our master's certificate in being white. Those of you that don't know, master's certificate in being white is a 20% off coupon from Bed Bath & Beyond, framed in a frame from Bed Bath & Beyond. So dumb, these things that come out of my mouth. I love her. We were living in Chicago. We packed up the car. We moved out. I'm born and raised in Colorado. I was in Chicago the past 4 years. And she's wonderful. She's beautiful, and she's intelligent, and she's one of the funniest people I know. Way funnier than I am. And this is the point where you guys start to think, well, then why is she not up here telling the jokes? And I'll tell you, because in addition to being beautiful, intelligent, and wonderful, she is also the worst storyteller that I know. She's an unnecessary detail includer. Was that a boo? Where did the boo come from? Right? What? Was that from the person passed out, face down on the ground?
No, they're awake. They're listening. You're the one that's keeping them alive.
You're welcome. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. That joke was not very good. It deserved a boo. Yeah. All right, Jared, how am I doing on time?
8.5.
8.5 to go?
Yeah.
Fantastic. We're going to take a side shift here. Who here has ever had a Plan B experience? All right, those of you guys that didn't respond are either Catholic or liars. synonymous. I've had 10 Plan B experiences. And I learned a few lessons with the 10 experiences. Here's what I learned the first time. The first time there was a pregnancy. And that's when I learned that it's the female that has to take the pill. Fourth time, I learned that Plan B really should be called Plan A. These are just jokes. Grandpa Joe, it's okay. And the other thing I learned is that when you in the morning when you have that conversation, when you realize that you didn't pull out and there was no goalie to pull out, is that you need to look as crazy as you can. I like to mess my hair up, look at the girl and say, well, I've always thought I'd be a good father. All this money I'm making from comedy, I'd probably be able to pay for 2 or 3 books for college. That line is how you get them to pay the $50. Okay, that was stupid and unrelated. I get it. So before comedy, I was a sales guy. And I was really good at my job, too. No being humble about it. And I was not good at my job because I'm charming or smart or a hard worker. I was really good at my job because I was excellent at following men to the bathroom at conferences. I followed more men to the bathroom than Freddie Mercury. I was expecting a little more laughter in my head when I was practicing today in front of the mirror with my toothbrush. And listen, I want to tell some work stories, which are fun. Who's ever had a bad boss? Yeah? All right, right here. LPGA was a bad boss. What was their name? Tracy. What were some things, the awful things that Tracy did? She's a moron. Is she the current boss as well? Yeah. That's fine. They can't see you. All right, who else has a bad boss? Drew, what's the bad boss's name?
His name was Chris.
Chris, what's the bad thing that Chris did?
God, what did he do? But mainly he would disappear for hours on hours, stay on the clock.
Oh, that sounds pretty smart to me. Yep. Yeah, Rooney, what do you got?
Yep. He's an alcoholic, estranged from his family.
Oh, wow. Did he just open that up on the first day? Day two. And the lovely missus? What, do you have the same boss or?
No. I think his name was Don. I don't know.
His name was Don.
Talk shit about his wife.
Talk shit about us to you, I assume?
Threw him in the bus.
Oh yeah. We know what's going on there. And yep.
And his name is Kyle Ruff.
Tell us about Kyle Ruff.
He has a Napoleon complex.
Put your shirt on. Tell us something we didn't know. You really work for Kyle? Tell me a Kyle Ruff work story. All right. All right, Drew. We get it. You like hookers. One more. I want one more. One more bad boss story. No one? Boy, the excitement is just... Jared, what is it?
Didn't know how to do their job.
Okay, guys. Well...
Literally.
Sorry to give everyone such a difficult task today. I apologize for that. That was very mentally draining, wasn't it? That was a real tough experience. I had a boss. I couldn't stand him, and the thing that he did, his name was Mike. I have no problem saying it out loud. Is he would touch himself while talking to me. Okay? He'd go full on pocket pull. Hey, Pat, I need to talk. And I'd be down low in my revolving chair.
And you're just right there.
I'm not, don't worry, it's not that big. I can't touch it through my pants. And, you know, but to his credit, he was a bit further down the spectrum than most of us. And so we didn't know he was doing it, but we couldn't call him Asperger's Mike because that'd be inappropriate, right? And that'd be unprofessional. So I called him Wiener Hands Mike. I want to end on my favorite story from work. So I worked for an international company, a division of Boeing. And right out of college, we had our 3-day orientation, HR training. And in those days, old Grandpa Pat here. We would go through and we'd watch videos and we'd pause the videos and we'd have to talk about them afterwards, right? So in the training was global employees. Yep, perfect time to take a picture, man. And it's fair. We had Mr. Lee from the China office. I had never met anyone from China, okay? And so for me as a 25-year-old out of college, this was so cool. Mr. Lee. And Mr. Lee was a quiet guy. And he'd come into the training and say, and I was so excited, Mr. Lee, hi. And he would just, Mr. Lee, do you want to eat lunch with me today? We'd have the HR course. The HR woman, instructor, a female instructor, would call, Mr. Lee, would you like to answer the question? 3 days of this. Finally, end of the 3rd day, we're watching a video. It's 2 females working in a factory, and there's a fat man staring at them. And they go into the break room, and they just say, I just can't take how Bill stares at us all day. Yeah, up and down, his elevator eyes, they're the worst. I just can't take those eyes. The HR instructor pauses the video, says, okay, class, what's the appropriate course of action here? And Mr. Lee raises his hand. The HR woman is so excited. Yes, Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee says, yes. On this time, Bill should wear sunglasses. The HR woman had to excuse herself because she was laughing so hard. I fell out of my chair. I told that joke on Zoom to a group of insurance salespeople in Oklahoma. Not much laughter, which I then learned was because their boss then said, oh, that's normally Dave. All right, this is going to be my time, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate you being here. Give it up for all the comedians that you saw so far. My name is Pat Treuer, everybody. Thank you very much. Get home safe. Have a good one.
Keep it going for Pat Treuer, everybody! All right, on a completely unrelated note, I have a couple job openings for the winter coming up. If anyone wants to talk to me. But thank you guys again so much for coming out. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you so much. Again, if you want to support your local comedy, I'll be over there. You can get a t-shirt. Donation, anything is great. Don't even worry about it if you can't. But also, some exciting things are happening. And it's still kind of in flux because the city is changing some of the COVID regulation things. But Steamboat Comedy is going to be back with weekly open mic comedy at the Press coming very soon. So stay tuned for that. And also, 2 weeks from today, we will be at the Snow Bowl on the other side of town with Comedy Central's Sean Patton from New York City. Is coming back. He was here in January, and he's coming back to do a show with his girlfriend Kalynn Cook, both hilarious comedians from New York. So you'll see them and a lot of the people you saw today. So stay tuned. Follow Steamboat Comedy on Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. And we'll get you going for that. Hope to see you there. But either way, thank you guys so much. One more time. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you very much.